What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Once again, what's up, everybody? Steven Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. So, listen, I'm on this journey. I'm currently right around, I don't know, maybe 615 subscribers, maybe a few more than that, somewhere in that area, between 615 and 620. I'm on the journey to 700. If you guys like this content, if y'all can do me a huge, huge favor, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscription button. Help me get to my journey of 700 subscribers. And to my OGs, if y'all want to help out, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. When you hit that like button, it communicates with YouTube, lets YouTube know that we're conversing back and forth, and then pushes this out across the platform. All right, y'all. Let's jump into today's topic. So today's topic, it's kind of as the Eagles coaching search turns. Guys, we're sitting here. We still don't have a wide receiver coach. We still don't have a cornerbacks coach. We still don't have an offensive coordinator. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't feel too secure that all the changes on the coaching staff are completely finished yet. I don't think that's a definitive yet. I do think that, by the end of the Super Bowl timeframe, we should have a good idea if there's going to be any further kind of rumblings within the coaching staff. But I wouldn't count us out past that happening. So today, I want to take a look at who are some of the names being mentioned for some very key positions like offensive coordinator. And I want to dive into who I think the leading candidate is. And I want to dive into who I think and why I think they would make a good coach for this team as an offensive coordinator. All right, y'all, let's jump into today's content.
I mean, it's funny. We're running a lot of the same no-huddle plays in the K-gun.
All right, guys, I apologize. I couldn't help myself but to run a little clip there of Frank Reich because I know some of y'all were thinking, oh, man, Gate City is getting behind the Frank Reich. That's not happening, guys. It's not happening. However, I wanted to point out that statement because I was watching like different coaches being mic'd up just to hear what they say to each other. And obviously, I don't know if Jim Kelly's coaching. I don't think he is. It's just two Buffalo Bills alum, kind of talking together. But you can hear something being discussed there by Frank Reich and Jim Kelly. They're talking about going, a no-huddle offense, right? And in that, you hear them talk about the K-gun. The K-gun really was started by the Bengals, but the K-gun, essentially what it is, it was the form of no-huddle offense that the Buffalo Bills ran under Jim Kelly. There's a reason why I'm pointing out this video clip to you guys. As we are looking through what I think should be the next offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, there are some parallels here that are important. To begin with, number one, whoever we select has got to be able to work with Carson Wentz. We've got to be able to get a guy in here who can get what little meat is left on the bone when it comes to Carson Wentz's play. Because the kid's spectacular. The kid has all the arm talent in the world. However, his decision-making is very good. But I'll tell you, as a former quarterback, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback, especially if you're a former quarterback. It's not the same thing on the field. But I can see on film at times where there is a small window to where if the progression was changed. Sometimes, guys, people say, like, oh, it was open. They don't understand the way progressions work within the quarterback's plays. But when you see that kind of stuff, the coaching staff should be getting together with the quarterback room, and they should be basically working on, hey, man, these plays are coming open. These receivers are in these particular plays. We need to change up our progressions, and we need to make sure if we see, defenses aligning this way, we need to tackle them right now, right here, this particular, play design with this particular progression set up for the quarterback. The other thing I want to talk to you about is that K-gun concept. What was one of the big shifts the Eagles made towards the end of the season? They devolved power from Doug Peterson and Mike Groh into the hands of Carson Wentz. Okay? Carson Wentz being able to go up-tempo. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about that hurry. It's up-tempo. Go up-tempo into a K offense style to where he's making the calls at the line of scrimmage is very important. And you'll see Jim Kelly closes this whole conversation off with a very interesting way of closing out that topic.
All the same.
They still work.
They still work. Well, when you got a good quarterback, that helps.
So what really spun my thought process on this, I have to give credit, it was Lord Brunson's video last night. So in Lord Brunson's video last night, he was discussing, James Urban, which I was also, when I did my video earlier, I told you guys, I thought, to me, outside of Deuce Staley, James Urban was that next guy that if you were asking me who I'd want on that list. So Brunson was doing his video and he talked about a concept that I kind of agree and disagree with. I disagree with taking play calling out of the hands of Doug Peterson, just because number one, I still think he's the best play caller we have on staff. But number two, I don't think the modern game is built that way to where you're going to take play calling out of his hands. Like modern head coaches they call their plays. They just do, either offensive or defensively. That's the way the game is structured now. But I do agree with Lord Brunson's overall premise, which is we're asking Doug Peterson to do way too much, which is between setting quarterback positioning under center. Is he going to be in the shotgun? Are we going to roll the pocket with him? Like, that's really what your quarterback coach should be. Your quarterback coach should be having way more input on that than what I think has been going on. I don't know the complete dynamics, but it's just what it appears like to me. Downright to, you heard Doug Peterson say, like, yeah, like Mike Groh's our passing game coordinator, but I have my hands on that as well. Well, you're doing too much. If you're calling the plays, then your offensive coordinator's number one priority is going to be either the running game coordinator or the passing game coordinator. In our particular situation, he's going to be the passing game coordinator because we already have a running game coordinator, right? Jeff Stoutland is our running game coordinator. So he is doing too much. And I'm going to play that clip from Brunson. I'm going to show you guys a small little clip from what he said. And I'm going to give you where I think there's a compromise between my perspective and Brunson's, where I think maybe there's something here. There's something here. We just got to fine tune it with the right hire.
You can't be soldier with the boots on the ground and the president of the United States.
I'm going to do these in 5-second clips just because I'm trying to give Brunson the same respect that I would give NFL Films or any other content creator. Because let's be real, in the end, they're just content creators. So I'm trying to give him, the same exact respect I would give them by not infringing upon copyright, by staying within the fair use law. So you can see Brunson there is saying you can't be the head coach and the quarterback and the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. You can't be HC, OC, and QB coach. Can't do that. You can't. You're spreading yourself too thin. 100% agreement there. That was a big problem with Doug Peterson. I think the guy's an exceptional coach. I think that dude knows how to really rally a locker room, man. I got to give him props for that. But look, things aren't always copacetic. I mean, we not everything is perfect. Like, we've got to keep evolving as an organization. We've got to stay one step ahead of everyone else in not only the division, but the conference and overall the league in general. And if we're going to do that like we did in 2017, we've got to modernize. We've got to modernize. And I think Brunson was kind of picking up on something that I have an idea about.
The first 15 plays that you're going to run in the game before situational football kick in.
So what Brunson's talking about there, guys, is that traditionally speaking, in a general sense, the first 15, 20 offensive plays that you design in a football game are very scripted, right? This is what you practice all week for. All that. I think, he's absolutely right. You got to have an offensive coordinator who can contribute to that aspect. 100% can't disagree with them. You need someone who can come in with fresh ideas, who's got a different outlook on the game, who can add a little wrinkle here or there to Doug Peterson's system. 100% hard to disagree with that statement. I do think there's a wrinkle, though, when we get past. So when we start getting into the situational football, you can even switch it up sometimes and do this from the scripted plays to the situational plays to legitimately fourth quarter or coming out of half. I think there's something here, guys, and it comes out of that K-gun offense. I think one way we can take some of the play calling away from Doug Peterson is by to continue devolving power from Doug into the hands of Carson Wentz in the K-gun offense. You heard what Frank Reich said in his statement. I'll play that again for you so you can hear that part again.
When you got good quarterback, that helps. Got that right. Yeah.
There have been a lot of quarterbacks who've come across the league and operated out of this no huddle, hurry up, 2-minute drill, K-gun style offense. And the history is very long, guys. It goes all the way back, really and honestly, to the turn of the 20th century with John Heisman. The guy that the Heisman Trophy is really named after. He's the first innovator of that. From there were early examples of it being run at Michigan. And then you go down to where really it was brought into the NFL, starts with Sam Weich in the 1980s. He ran this with Boomer Esiason, Sam Weich and Boomer Esiason. Then you go to the 90s, and you got Marv Levy. I can't remember. Their offensive coordinator had a really weird name in Buffalo. I can never remember the guy's name. It started with his last name started with an M, I want to say. And then you had Jim Kelly running it. You go to the 2000s. You got Peyton Manning running it. You go to the last coaching regime here. Chip Kelly ran it. Now, there's two things that need to be discussed here. Number one, look, Carson Wentz is an exceptional arm talent. I think there's a distinct possibility he can accomplish this. With that said, please don't mistake me for saying that Carson Wentz should be held in the same regard as two Pro Bowlers. Or I'm sorry, not Pro Bowlers. They were all Pro Bowlers. Two Hall of Famers, and one probably future Hall of Famer, because I don't think he's been named to the Hall of Fame yet, but one future Hall of Famer there. So I'm not trying to say that he's that, but you can see you need a strong quarterback to run this offense. I mean, look at the names associated with it: John Heisman, Boomer Esiason, Jim Kelly, Peyton Manning. Like, I do think Carson Wentz has the arm talent and the knowledge to run that system. Okay? You got coaches that you can model yourself after, right? You've got the Marv Levy's, you've got the Sam Weich's. Like, there are respectable coaches who ran this system and were able to do it. Now we just need to find ways of adding the wrinkles to the system. We need to find the right offensive coordinator to help with Carson to get this done. And I think there's two ways of doing this. The first way of doing something like this, guys, is to simply not have an offensive coordinator. Keep Doug in that particular position as the head coach and basically play caller. Don't worry about the offensive coordinator role. If you hire a respectable enough wide receiver coach, that person can pitch in as the passing game coordinator. If you were to do that, then my suggestion would be you go out and you identify a veteran coach, someone like a Jim Caldwell, a Marty Morningwig, right? A Norv Turner, those caliber coaches who can come in as a special assistant. They have no specific job title other than to help you get fresh eyes on the offense. The reason I think a system like this would work is you're not stripping Doug Peterson of his play calling, so he's happy. But at the same time, you are kind of stripping him of play calling because you got a guy coming in as a special assistant who can help Doug design those plays. Okay, you got hopefully a stud wide receiver coach that we can identify that can help you with the passing game. Can also get these receivers to be in the right place where they're supposed to be and to run technically sound routes, which I did not see on film for the majority of the season. I won't say every game, but for the majority of the season. And what you have is if you're devolving power to Carson Wentz, guys, now you got a guy that's back there who, when you're running that up-tempo offense, you've got Doug's eyes on the field. You've got this special assistant like a Jim Caldwell, a Morningwig, a Norv Turner, that caliber coach whose eyes are on the field with you, and you got your quarterback coach eyes on the field. You've got a lot of people who are getting input to help Carson. So now if you're switching out of the up-tempo, they've got their eyes on how everyone was playing it. So when they go back into a huddled form of a traditional offense, they've got it. I think there's an opportunity here to get this done. Now, the inverse of that would be is that you hire a young guy to come in here and coach this. I said James Urban. I still stand by James Urban. There are some concerns like Brunson expressed that James Urban didn't do the greatest job necessarily with trying to help Lamar Jackson and not sustaining injuries and subjecting himself to certain hits. Like, not that Lamar Jackson was injured or anything, guys, but he put himself out there for injury the way Carson has. With that said, I just think there's some guys that it doesn't matter who you bring as the quarterback coach. They're going to play their style of football. There's nothing you can do about that. The other guy that I think would make a good fit here is Mike Kafka. I think Mike Kafka would be a good fit. This is a young guy who's coming in from the Kansas City form of this offense, which is very similar to what we're already running. But he can, especially if we're going and addressing this wide receiver position and getting different types of wide receivers, can bring in some more West Coast-based, traditional routes to this particular offense. Because I see a lot of work in the middle of the field, a little Air Coryell in our system here to where We're trying to get over the top, and we are working the middle of the field a lot. I do think that we do need to work with Carson a little bit with hitting those flats routes, those quick in and out routes, and continue progressing with that, timing and rhythm offense. I think a guy like a James Urban and I think a guy like, a Mike Kafka can help in that regard if you're going to name someone an offensive coordinator, but they won't have play calling responsibilities. But I do think devolving power in Carson Wentz's hands like this, and I'm not saying that you run up tempo every single down, but you're switching gears on teams. I think you got to continue doing that. Because I think what it does is it frees your coaches up to analyze the game and analyze the defense and to be able to match up better with that opposing head coach and that opposing defensive coordinator. To me, that's important. All right, guys, that's my thoughts on the topic. I would like to know yours. What do you guys think? What do you think about this whole concept? Leave me a comment below, guys. Let's talk about it. All right, y'all. I'm about to peace up out here. Y'all know what time it is. EAGLES. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.